actually, because our friend Jeff and I were disagreeing on a lot of points on Tuesday about Arcane, and I wouldn't say that Jeff is wrong on any of those points. I think, like, I interpreted the characters' actions in one way, and Jeff interpreted them in another, and I think, like, both interpretations are super valid. And I think there were 3 different times that I said straight to Jeff, I disagree with you. But, like, I ain't mad. Because I think Arcane is actually interesting enough to have different interpretations. And was it pretty?
Part of me is like, better be. They've been holding on to those characters and thinking about them for ever.
Do you remember what I said to you the other day?
Yeah.
Arcane had, as a business proposition, I'm not going to talk about the plot. We'll talk about that later after Kyle's seen it. But as a money-making business adventure between Riot Games and Netflix, that Arcane had 2 things it needed to do, and those 2 things fought with each other. Thing 1 is this needs to be an entertaining show that people like. Good goal. That's a good goal for a show. The other thing it needed to be was a decent representation of these decade-old video game characters that do a video game. And when those video game-ass characters were created, they weren't really thinking... They were thinking about making some pretty and interesting and effective video game characters in their video game. They weren't really thinking about the canon and the characterization and the backstories and all that.
You know, I'm not sure that's true.
It might... I don't know. But what I interpret from Arcane is... you struggled a little bit to get to do both of those things at once. But fortunately, they had these 2 things they needed to do, and they threw those 2 things into the bucket. And they weren't really mixing with each other. But fortunately, because they are Riot Games, known shitty company, full of exploitative business practices and toxic work environment, they did have one asset, which is this fucking enormous boatload of cash. So they took their astronomical Scrooge McDuck money bin levels of cash, attached it to a hose, and then just sprayed that money onto Arcane until those 2 conflicting issues mostly kind of harmonized with each other. Boy, does that show look expensive. Boy, does it look money as shit.
How much experience do you have with League of Legends?
0. I have never even watched a YouTube clip of gameplay. I have maybe... All right, here's my 0.05, right? I have maybe seen a couple of cool arts. Still images of a character from League of Legends and said, hey, that's a cool character. End of thought. I have never, ever given League of Legends any more thought than that, and it's interesting because now that it's going to be a fighting game, I am super interested. I will play that fighting game.
It was actually a really big bonding activity for me and Loopy, for instance.
Neat.
It's kind of why I mean, like, it's definitely why.
Okay, all right. Tell me this. And now here's actually, like, apart from single images, I also have listened to podcast nerd assholes talk about League of Legends. And one particular coworker who explained to me what Teemo is. But
what Teemo is? Sorry, that's a perfect way of phrasing that.
I asked, "What is Teemo?" And that person sighed and explained to me what Teemo is. And I was like, got it. Also, I know what race that is because of fucking Arcane. Anyway. I forget the name of the race. Don't worry about it. when you played League of Legends with Loopy Fritz,
Yeah.
who did you play, and what lane were they?
I was this guy. His name's Jin.
What? Oh, I don't see. No, I can't.
Oh, I'm showing the audience.
I see it. I see it. I see it. I see it. I see it.
Yeah.
You can't see it on my side, but you can see it on Kyle's side. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no. I played a guy named Jin who, I mean,
He looks like a robot man.
technically he's a serial killer, but I like to think of him as an artist.
Listen,
Uh,
that world appears to me, based on the lore that I have gathered from the TV show Arcane, a little fucked up. I think the world might be a little fucked up. So
might be a little bit.
Here's-
Yeah, so I
go ahead.
mained Jin, and Loopy Fritz mained Thresh, who is this guy. Big old Grim Reaper fellow.
Oh, he looks dope.
Yeah. And we would play bot
he
lane
looks
together.
great.
I would do the killing, and Loopy Fritz would keep me from losing the match single-handedly, because I was not good at League of Legends.
All right. Kyle, which lane were you?
Bottom. We went bottom together.
Got it. I don't know what that means. I just know that that's a question you can ask League players.
So I'm going to tell you.
Okay,
and
hang
this
on,
is
hang
your
on.
fault, 'cause
Before
you
you
brought it
do,
up.
let me see how many I remember. There's
Okay.
top, mid, bottom, and jungle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what any of those words mean. Apart from like physical orientation, so I assume that top, middle, and bottom are like literally the top lane on the map, the middle lane on the map, and the bottom lane on the map. I kind of know that there are lanes, and I also know that apparently not in the video game, but in the TV show, the lanes is actually a place. You can go to a place called the Lanes. Yo, that was a reference.
So
Go ahead.
So there's 5 roles technically. The bottom lane is the one where typically 2 people go. It is the physical attacker, like the person who does the most just straight up physical damage, and the support, someone who just has a bunch of skills that keeps everyone alive. They go to the bottom lane, and the goal is to get the physical attacker as strong as possible.
Got it.
The mid lane is usually where your magic-y spelly person goes, and that's normally like single, and they're just trying to out-nuke each other. And the top lane is where the tanks go. The jungle is sort of a wild card ambush role. There's
What can I hazard a guess that
Sure.
Teemo is a jungler?
I have seen him build more top actually.
Oh, okay.
I do believe he can do jungle, but
Can I just actually spill what I know about Teemo with my
Yeah, go for
absolutely
it.
nothing knowledge of? So
I
Teemo's
actually don't know much about Teemo except he's a fucking annoying person to play against.
okay. All right. Have you ever played Overwatch?
Yes.
Have you ever played against Mei?
Yes.
Teemo is the Mei.
If
Not-
you gave May a cloak.
Not because he freezes you, because his ability makes you unable to play the video game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's.
He
accurate.
drops invisible mines and his he puts these little hidden mushrooms and they explode and they're not good. They're just super duper annoying. And in any video game, especially any multiplayer video game, when you've got an ability that takes that you do an ability to other guy and that makes other guy unable, like not dead, but unable to do anything, it is the most infuriating, frustrating, maddening, worst experience ever. Mei in Overwatch used her ice beam on you and you'd go slower, 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 ice. And you can't do anything. Sometimes you'd survive it. Sometimes you'd make a decision but the main point is it removes your ability to play the fucking video game. And in League, as much as I know about it, having played Warcraft 3 and Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 1 and StarCraft 2, is that you're moving your little guys around the map, and Teemo puts traps around that make the very simple task of moving around your fucking map annoying and stupid and bad. And everyone hates Teemo because all he does is not win, but annoy the ever-loving stupid shit out of you.
So Loopy Fritz and I, there were two particular champions that we sort of had one of them I think is just a legitimate, like, or at least was a legitimate ban at the time, but one in particular I would describe as a trauma ban, which is the there's always a draft in, or there.
I know about this, where it's just like if I remember correctly, it's like when you're choosing your characters, you can actually say like, no, this character is not allowed in this round, and so everyone needs to know at least 2, possibly 3 people, because the character that you like might just get voted as no, you can't play it this round.
Yeah,
which is an interesting way to do it, and also to generate toxicity.
I like that certain people can get banned, but like, because it sort of allows the community to self balance when, or while the devs are actually like actively still working on the balance.
I super get that.
But the trauma ban, well, okay, the legitimate ban that we always banned was Blitzcrank, who is this like little friendly robot guy. Very much reminds me of what's his name? The Big Hero 6 robot. At least that's what he felt like to me. But he has this grab attack that no matter where I am on the map or how far away I am, it still seems to be able to completely home in on me, grab me, pull me forward, and immediately murder me.
Neat.
And as the squishy attack damage person who's very squishy but trying to kill as much as possible, the "oh no, you're dead" button was always so infuriating. The trauma ban was a guy named Tryndamere, who's like a Berserker King guy, if I recall right. And his ultimate ability is to not die.
Okay.
So he just won't die. And there was no counterplay for me for that, and he would just chase me down and kill me, and it just seemed like it would never run out. And I know that's not true. I know it definitely, like, there's a way you can tell when it's about to be activated, and a way like you can time your attacks to make sure that like you don't like waste mana on invincibility mode and all that stuff, but I couldn't figure it out, and so no, every time I played it was always banning Tryndamere because I had too many bad experiences.
Your kit was not prepared for it.
And every time I didn't ban Tryndamere, someone would pick Tryndamere, and it would be awful, and I'd hate myself, so I learned.